Bragging rights 2010. I already put one of these videos up, but it ran over 15 minutes, so YouTube would not allow me to put it up. Basically, second shot here. Really good pay-per-view. The only dodgy bit was Undertaker versus Kane, but I think we all kind of knew that was going to happen. Kicked off with a great match between Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, Intercontinental Champion versus US Champion. The only problem was they did such a good job that it was kind of hard for everyone else to follow up. Some really good near falls, some really great in-ring work, and they gave them a decent amount of time. 16 minutes they got to mess around with in there. One bit that looked like a botch was when Daniel Bryan went to belly to back suplex Ziggler off the top rope, and Ziggler reversed it and looked like he was pushing Bryan's head down. I think that was in retaliation to a botched bit earlier on where Bryan was throwing kicks to Ziggler while he was on his knees, and he kept on getting him in the midsection, and then he caught him in the head, and it looked like he really caught him. So a bit of turnaround is fair play as far as the real hitting is concerned. Superb near falls, couldn't knock it. I was going to give this 5 stars, and then they totally blew it. They basically got foot on the rope routine, and referee stops the does the 3 count, looks like the match is over, then the referee realises the foot was over the rope, oops, let's restart. Boom. Totally ruined it. They kept going for another couple of minutes, but nothing they could do came even close to matching what had been done before the pinfall had gone through. Daniel Bryan wound up winning by submission. I'm going to give it 4 stars. It really was quite good. It could have gotten 5 if they hadn't blown the ending like that, but they did, so what are you going to do? The two of them had a really good match on Raw as well, which I've just watched. They did a great follow-up match, which was good as well. If you've got to watch it, there's a great, both guys attempt to do the flying body cross at the same time, and the collision they made in mid-air, I'm surprised nobody got broken ribs out of that because it looked brutal. Anyway, I'm going to give 4 stars to that. Could have been 5. Team Raw came out next. Well, they didn't come out with it in the locker room. They did an interview with Team Raw where it was obvious there was some dissension in the ranks. They then brought out Cody Rhodes and Drew McIntyre to badmouth on the crowd before the Raw GM stepped up and said, "Yeah, there's a tag team title match here for you to do." So they defended the titles against David Otunga and John Cena. Textbook tag match. Nothing at all of any interest going on here. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't particularly good. It was quick. I mean, at the end of the day, Rhodes tapped out at 7 minutes to John Cena, and we've got new tag team champs, Cena and Otunga, although Raw reversed that by putting the tag team belts on the other 2 members of Nexus tonight. Anyway, end of the pay-per-view, it was basically a case of Otunga and Cena, the new tag team champs, average run-of-the-mill nonsense. Not got much to say about it, not got anything to knock about it. It was after the match that it got good. They had a segment where Otunga was celebrating like he'd done all the work, and John Cena's face at this point was actually quite funny. The facial expressions were hysterical. He then went round and started Cena then turned around and booted the hell out of him, which was quite amusing. Great video for Knucklehead next, and I have to say that, yeah, I really quite like the look of this film. It's a pity it's not getting a cinema release in the UK, because it looks like about the best WWE film there's been yet. It looks really, really funny. Anyway, got a promo video for Goldust DiBiase. I mean, it's been more than 20 years since Old Man Rhodes and Old Man DiBiase were going at it. Do we really want this family feud continuing 2 decades on? Apparently the WWE do, because that's what we're getting. I have to be fair, it wasn't a bad match by any stretch of the imagination. It was okay. Some decent work from both guys. Lasted quite a bit longer than I suspected it would, at 11 minutes, and I'll give it 3 stars, still generous. DiBiase won by pinfall, but at the end of the day, Goldust just nicked the belt again and ran off it. So although DiBiase is still officially the $1 million champion, Goldust still has the belt. Lee Cole come out and badmouth the crowd, did a really good job of it as well, before we got Layla versus Natalya. This was good for what it was, and again, I'm saying this again. Really, the Divas now are at the level of in-ring ability that they should be getting long matches. They could put on great matches if you gave them the time. Layla and Natalya didn't get that. They got 5 minutes to do what they were doing. As I said, it wasn't bad at all. Quite a good segment where Layla did a triangle lock on Natalya and started pumping away with her hips to get a sort of squeeze effect, but I have to admit, looking at that, I wasn't thinking about that. I just think Layla must be able to go some in bed looking at that. Again, could have done with a better ending. The booking was bad. The end result was that, not surprisingly, Michelle cost Natalya the match. 3 stars, but if they'd given them 5 minutes more, let it go the full 10 minutes, this could have been something quite good. So I'm a little bit annoyed it didn't go any further than that. Josh Matthews is in the grave, hyping up the Burried Alive match. 3 feuds over 13 years, Undertaker and Kane do not work well together. Why don't the WWE get this? We've got another match to look forward to here. Yay! And it was as bad as everything else they've done. This year's SummerSlam being about the sole exception. What can you say? They brawled in the ring, they brawled in the outside area, they brawled at the mixing desk, they got back in the ring with some chairs and did some chair shots, they brawled down the aisle, they brawled on to the graveside. Undertaker got the upper hand, threw Kane in, and then Nexus showed up, just as Undertaker was about to put Paul Bearer in after Kane. And there is no logic to the Nexus showing up here and getting involved in this match. Basically, Kane climbed out, Nexus stuffed up Taker until they threw him in the grave, and then Kane magically got a dumpster truck to drop about 2 tons of dirt on top of the Undertaker to win the match and retain the title. Stupid, pathetic, hated it, but then again, put Undertaker and Kane in with anybody else, the 2 guys are capable of having good matches. Put them in against each other, it falls badly. Please, when you bring Undertaker back, no more feuding with Kane. I'm begging you. Move these 2 guys on to other challengers. Move these guys on to another direction. Do something different with them. I am begging you. Please. As far as Nexus showing up and interfering in the match, at the time I was thinking, what the hell is going on here? And I was hoping for an answer out of Raw, which we didn't get. The impression I got from when they touched on it was on Raw was that they decided to book Nexus to interfere in the match, but now can't think of a valid reason why Nexus interfered in the match. So we're stumped here. I think WWE have written themselves into a corner, and I don't know how they're going to get themselves out of it, but please, no more Kane Taker, I'm begging you. 1 star, if I could give minus stars, I would. It was terrible. Next up, the Bragging Rights tag team match, and whoa, didn't let me down at all. Great stuff from everybody involved. Ezekiel Jackson got in a couple of times and things slowed down, but that was about it. Everybody else in there worked their hearts and really worked themselves to death, putting on a great elimination match. Full credit to everybody, they did some great stuff. quite why they insist on pushing SmackDown over Raw. I mean, I'm a SmackDown fan. I watch Raw, but I'm a SmackDown fan at heart, and you know I'm not going to complain about them getting the win. But quite why the WWE seems so insistent on pushing SmackDown in this thing, I don't know, because that's them beating Raw again. I don't know or not it's something to do with international rating figures or what, but again, SmackDown won. Only dodgy moment was when Rey Mysterio tried 3-6-1-9s in a row. He did the first one fine, but then he blew the second one, and I actually got quite concerned when he blew the second one because it looked as if he'd injured himself. Thankfully he hadn't. Great sequence where Alex Riley protected Miz from the third 619. And the way the match finished suddenly with Edge, with Ray getting the pin, then tagging out to Edge and getting Edge into pin Miz in about 2 seconds flat. Honestly, I can't say enough in positive about this match. It was absolutely superb. Thumbs up to him. More stuff from Knucklehead next, and then we had the WWE title match between Randy Orton and Wade Barrett, and bad booking time again. They started the match off with Wade Barrett getting on the microphone and saying to John Cena that if he didn't win the match tonight, he was going to fire Cena. Duh. Now, I've been watching this stuff for 20 odd years, right? 21 years I've been watching this. I know my booking, I know how it works, so I could tell that what was going to happen here was that Barrett was going to win the match, but not the title. But even a newbie could have figured this out. So basically, they then started the match, and no one gave a hoot because you knew what was coming. Orton and Barrett did a good showing of themselves. They did a good amount of work, but it would have come over much better had 90% of the audience not realised what was going to wind up happening at the end. And so it all came down to the Nexus interfering, just as the referee had taken the bump, just as the referee's coming around. The Nexus all run down to ringside, Cena gets involved and stops them, Barrett goes ballistic, and it's a case of, well, do you want disqualified? So, no, on the go. Orton gets the upper hand, and Cena comes in and attacks Barrett. And Barrett therefore wins the match by disqualification. You could tell it was coming from the very minute the match kicked off. So the whole match, and I mean, no discredit to Orton or Barrett, they both did a good job, but nobody cared. You knew what was going to happen. And it was a real letdown, because I would have said that these guys had done enough to earn, 4 stars again, but I'm only going to give them 3 stars because the whole match was pointless once the announcement before the match had taken place. But I have to say, all in all, with the exception of the Undertaker-Kane match, I really can't do that much complaining about what was delivered. It was a solid pay-per-view, it was a great evening, and I have to give credit to the WWF. I'm going to give the event 4 stars overall. Everybody played a good job, especially the opening Intercontinental versus US title matches and the bragging rights tag match. Absolutely superb. Had it not been for the dodgy booking at the end of the Intercontinental US title match, I'd have given that 4 marks. But yeah, I may have made some notes about what I didn't like in the pay-per-view, but overall, I've got to give it a thumbs up. It was really good, and if you get a chance to catch a repeat, go and catch the repeat.